I was just talking to one of my neighbors, the guy that I always walk by before I get to my house, and we yell about God to each other. That guy, he's cool. It's hard though to have like a normal conversation with people, especially when they start talking about like the world and stuff and why things are so shitty and the stuff going on. He was lamenting how in Hawaii we have to get our bananas from like Guatemala, and we don't produce things here. He said they still do some pineapple production here, which I didn't think they did. I was under the impression they didn't. I know they have the Dole cannery, and then they have the Dole, but that's more for tourist type stuff. It's cool. I've been up there. They got that little hedge maze and everything. But it's so hard to discuss anything with the uninitiated, or at least from what I'm assuming. It's more of the hiding the power level situation. Like, sometimes you have to like do some gymnastics because they'll bring up something like why something is the way it is, and they'll give you their take on why they think it is. And you don't, what are you gonna do? You're gonna start dropping the spaghetti right there and be like, well, actually, you can't, man. You can't do that. This stuff is like, I mean, when I first started hashtag noticing, I don't even mean that, I'm just using that as a joke, but when I first started putting together what was happening because of the experiences I was having, I was trying to tell everybody. People I would, friends I've known for a long time, I'd be like, dude, you gotta get out. I think everybody goes through that, in their spiritual awakening or their truth awakening. Sometimes they go hand in hand. They're not mutually exclusive. So yeah, you wanna tell everyone. And now it's like, I do the opposite. I'm trying to dodge it during conversation and to come across just as normal as I can, or as relatively normal as far as awareness. People don't have time. Some people, I mean, there's a whole thing about some people will just see, some will see when shown, and some just won't see. I didn't understand that when I first heard it. It's attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, and I thought it was a biblical thing at some point, but it's not. It's a Da Vinci quote. But then again, we don't even know if he was a real guy. So they pass these things down, and there's a reason, these things get passed around. But in any case, that one always kind of rung a bell with me, because it's like you can't really bother. Some people just aren't going to see it. And that, of course, extends to the system tool theory. It's a whole thing. So at any rate, when I stopped to talk to one of my neighbors who, I don't know what they know. I try to, I mean, geez, I was talking to this one guy not too long ago, and he was talking about something and, relating it to climate change. I'm like, yeah, it's, what do you do? You just kind of say, yeah. I mean, I want to say like, hey, you ever take a glass of water, put ice cubes in it? You know what I mean? You just want to like, but you can't, right? And as time's gone on, it's gotten to a point now where you're putting yourself in danger by talking like that to some people. As we discussed here before, and people have discussed in other places, they're always trying to get domestic teas, and basically it's now come down to pretty much anyone that isn't going along with whatever the current narrative is. And you do have a lot of system tools out here, who will call the Gestapo on you if they suspect something. I mean, we lived through a period where that literally happened, you know? That was what was going on. Speaking of that, there's a guy named Dave Cullen. He's like a pop culture guy. He's in that genre of guys that lament how the Care Bears are being ruined by fucking wokeness or something. He's one of those guys, but not one of those guys. He's much better. He's much more quality. He doesn't harp on the same things they do. He's more of an analysis guy. Like, he does a lot of reviews and stuff and talks about film. It's but I mean, unfortunately, he's lumped into that same genre, of course. But he did a great video, which more people should see. But I think because of the genre he's in, he has a lot of views. He's a popular channel, but for other things, he did a video about the amnesty, the question of amnesty from that. What was it, New York Times or something, story from that woman who was floating the idea of amnesty, and you know, everyone kind of reacted to it badly, as they should. But he did a great summary of everything that happened in those 2 years as a reason to not grant anybody shit. You know, I've tried a go at that myself. Everyone has, I think, at this point, once that article came out. But this is the best one. It's masterfully done. It's like he's got everything covered with little clips, little sound bites. He's good. He's a smart guy too. You can tell, you know. But yeah, that's a great one. I'll link it in the comments. You can check it out. Because if you're, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's probably going to make you rage, but it's just so well done, and it's a good argument for any kind of amnesty. But I don't think those people want amnesty. This is a media thing. This is one thing that's been kind of overlooked. It's one article by one woman who floated this idea. I think she's a professor, like, because of course she is, right? And she posited this idea of, do you think we should? I don't think the people who perpetuated it, these the tentacles of the beast here, that are a lot of them around you all the time, I don't think they are sorry. I mean, I haven't heard anything like that. So I don't know. I think this is just, you know, people's reaction to it was pretty swift and loud. Those of us who, you know, who did know. It's like, well, you know, we didn't know. It's like, yeah, well, we did. And we tried to tell you, and you tried to put us in fucking camps. So, you know what I mean? I haven't heard anyone outside of that article even like apologize. You know, I mean, maybe someone on Twitter somewhere, I think, when's that guy, Scott Adams, I think the Dilbert guy, he did kind of a thing like that. His take was, he was too smart to know. He said the reason, go ahead, you're gonna hit me anyway. The reason he got it wrong is because he read it more than most people. I guess like he was smarter than you. So he said he read everything, and with the information he had, he was convinced that things were the way they were saying it was. And if he was dumber, he would have known like the rest of us did. That's basically the summary there. It's fucking outrageous. But he kind of gave sort of an apology, but I don't think they're sorry. Like, these people would do the same thing tomorrow. If the states and the federal government and the world government, which we do have already, if they hadn't pulled back on this for the reasons they did, which is still kind of mysterious to me, they would still be trying to call the Gestapo on me. You know, I mean, I couldn't go into places. I still feel weird going into certain stores now that I've been, you know, banned from for 2 years, you know. I walk into some places too without a mask on, and they expect to get static because I'm just, I'm used to it, right? So I feel like I'm doing something wrong sometimes when I walk in these places now, just, with no mask on. And a lot of people still wear it here. But yeah, a lot of Asians wore that anyway. Like before anything happened, it's kind of popular more in Eastern countries to do that. I don't know, maybe the amount of people, or it's just something they did anyway. When I first moved here, I noticed a lot of them doing it. A lot of them wearing them before this whole thing even happened. But now, there are still people, quite a few, that rock that all day. And any time of day, it's just weird. Sometimes I'll be out early morning, walking to get a coffee or something, and it'll just be me and a couple dudes, right, walking on the whole street, and one of them will have that fucking thing on. Like, what do you think you're doing? So that's when the argument for the system tools theory is pretty strong. It's like, that's not a person. That's not like a real person. He's just a tool of the a system. It's not even an Agent Smith thing. It's beyond that. At least Agent Smith, he seemed to have his own sort of, he seemed to have a bit of free will. These guys are just an extension of the OS. It's fucking madness. But yeah, I don't think there's really any remorse, for any of that. And again, if the system tool theory holds up, there isn't any remorse because there isn't any sympathy, because there isn't any empathy. And there isn't any sympathy or empathy because there's no fucking divinity, because they're not connected to God in any way, or source, or whatever you want to say. They're not a fragment of creation. They're not a sliver of divinity. They're empty. Some people say soulless. Some people say NPCs. I didn't realize how, real, how close to literal that was. When you first started seeing that term NPC being used, it was funny. Especially if you, played role-playing games, video games, you knew what they were. They have a handful of things they can say, and that's it, I remember seeing one anon on Paul talking about how you shouldn't worry about what people think about you. He said, because in this world, it's like playing RuneScape and what was it, Elden Ring maybe? And you don't want to jump through town, to speed your progress because you're afraid the NPCs will think you're weird. It's like that kind of concern. And, he's right. He's right. I always have my things ready in case anything jumps out or looks promising. It's been quiet on that front, I had that one dude that I mentioned I interacted with 2 times in a row, and I didn't film him either time, but I had the follow-ups there about what went on. But since that guy, which was like 2 weeks ago, I haven't really seen anything, or I haven't heard anything. But I don't know. You never know though. Like, it's the activity, they're always here. It's just if you're going to be able to see them in someone. But yeah, they're definitely always here. They're always trying to get in. That's why you have to be vigilant, man. Say high vibration. Make sure you laugh. And laughing at them is the way to go most of the time. What's up, man? That doesn't lull me into a false sense of security ever. I know they're around. They're in between all the spaces, all around us now. And I'm ready if I see them. Or if they see me. Because you don't really see them. You can't see them. You can see the poor person they're in. But you don't see them unless you pick them up on film, as we've seen examples of. My friend Jay sent me some from his house the other day. I think it was his house, where I picked up some stuff in the photographs, and I should yank that out and post it 'cause it's pretty good. Yeah, I don't want to get into that now, but if anything interesting pops, or I hear the familiar gurglings and screechings, I'll push the button. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.